In chess, people become obsessed with numbers. A rating can become a part of your identity.
You introduce yourself by it. You compare yourself to others because of it. You celebrate when it goes up and feel very embarrassed when it goes down.
This conversation isn't just about ratings, it's a discussion about why humans place so much value on measurable success and how easily we allow numbers to define our confidence, status, and self worth.
So, here we go.
Oh, that's real good.
Welcome, guys, to the NF3 Podcast. I am Hunter, and this is Sean. In this episode, we're discussing chess ratings, what they actually measure, why we become so attached to them, and what they reveal about the way we measure success in every part of our lives.
One move at a time.
Episode 4. Pretty
Episode
cool.
4, we made it. Woo!
So, Sean, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this so far?
I'm feeling so good, man. Like, we've really put a lot of energy into, like I said, improving every episode as best as we can. And we have one more episode to go for this season. That's exciting. Season finale.
It's crazy we've come this far in such a short amount of time. Everything from, like we said last time, production, writing, even just like getting comfortable with filming it's been a crazy experience, a lot of fun.
Yeah, to think that we started on Facebook and now we made it here, 4 episodes in and one more to go until we have our season finale. And even today's episode, we're bringing something new to the table. We got a few shot glasses up there in the front, some mysterious stuff in there.
You'll never know.
You'll never know until later. I want to kick us off, man. We're here and today we're talking about chess ratings. One of the biggest misconceptions people outside of chess have is what a rating actually represents. Every player has to start somewhere, and a rating isn't just your intelligence, right? It's not your potential. It's not something that's permanent. A rating can really change, and it's at the beginning, it's a simple, really an estimate of how your performance is and, you know, what your current skill level at chess is, but it's not something that is static or something that stays the same forever. And so one of the first questions I have for you is, why do you feel like there's so much emotional weight when it comes to numbers?
I think numbers carry a lot of emotional weight in our psychology because we're at the top of the food chain now. So we get the luxury of having modern creature comforts. And the best way to stand out and be at the top of the human food chain is to put yourself in a category. Like, am I the best at something? Do people view me as the best? Where do I fall on the scale? So a lot of people hold emotional significance to a number because it's almost like determining your self-worth.
Well, I mean, I absolutely agree with you, man. I really do feel like, you know, it's a psychological thing, right? We look at a number go up and there's a positive reinforcement or a positive emotion that comes out of that. And on the other side, when we see that number go down, especially in chess, right, we feel really crappy. Like, it's not a positive thing to watch a number go down. And part of that is, you know, it's how we measure our success. But I think too many times, or, you know, so many people hold on to these numbers and they feel like it's almost like a part of their identity. And that's something we're going to unpack a little bit more. But I think, you know, one of the best things, especially for new players entering chess, is to not care so much about that number in the beginning.
Absolutely. When did you first start caring about your rating?
I really feel like I started to care once I got on chess.com. Chess.com has a pretty notorious way of making you care about your rating. You know, a lot of the times it'll match you against players who have like a slightly higher rating than yours, anywhere between 40 to 75 points higher. So when you lose to those people, it really sucks because it kind of feels like punching down someone who was better than you or more skilled than you based on a number beat you. But on the other side, when you win, there's a lot of joy that comes from that, knowing that you bested someone who on paper, based on a number, is technically more skilled than you are.
I feel the same way. Back in 2023, when I first got into chess religiously, I was working at the airport doing cargo, and it got so much. I agree. Back when I first started working at the airport in 2023 is really when I got into chess. I would play my coworkers, my friends, everybody I could play on chess.com. I would, just even random people, of course. And I didn't start to care about the EOL rating until it started to go down. Like, I had just been winning for X amount of games, and then seeing the number go down was kind of like, it was like a kick in the gut. It's like, oh, am I really struggling this hard to succeed in chess? And after that, I like took a very long break from chess because my losing rate was pretty high compared to my initial winning rate. So
No, I mean, I definitely feel that as well. And I kind of tanked my ELO rating on chess.com. I remember, especially in the beginning when I was kind of just goofing around and I wasn't taking it so seriously. You know, I'd fumble a lot of games, or there'd be a lot of games where I'd resign after like 2 bad moves in the beginning.
that's me right there.
Yeah, and it brought my rating all the way down. So now I'm working on getting it back up. But it's the psychology behind the number, right? And, you know, the emotional feeling that you get from it. And, you know, sometimes there's a story behind it also. Like I remember for myself, what really also kicked in this kind of self-consciousness about ratings is back at UCSD, I used to play in the library a lot of chess as well, just, you know, random people. And I had this one guy who I played with all the time. And I think if I remember correctly, he told me his rating was like 2,200, 2,300.
Holy cow, he's like
really good.
grandmaster level.
Yeah, no, he was super good. And I remember sitting down at the table with this guy and like, it was crazy. Every single move, he could tell me whether it was a good move, bad move, okay move. And he'd really put me through it. You know, I'd play an opening. He'd be like, okay move. And I'd move, you know, a bishop or a knight. Ooh, bad move. You just lost your piece. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And then, yeah, next thing you know, it's gone. And, you know, you play with people like that. And I think that really does make you feel a little bit more self-conscious, a little bit more aware of the ratings and the numbers, especially because they do represent, you know, to some degree your skill level in the game. So, you know, if you're playing someone who's a 2,200 and you're a 600 or even a 1,500, that gap can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes.
I feel like in that sense, it's kind of a good metaphor to realize like you could lose your rating overnight, just like you can in life. Like you could lose everything overnight and you couldn't do much about it. So it's important to, you know, keep your expectations realistic and understand at the end of the day, like you can get everything back if you try hard enough, but some things you can't get back.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of parallels to like other aspects of life. Like we like to say on this podcast that chess is kind of like a metaphor for life. And I mean, if you look at some of the other real world parallels, like people are obsessed with numbers, whether it's like their income, salary, followers, GPA, you know, weight. We put so much emphasis on having numbers. And I think it's because they kind of allow us to quantify things and see the progression in things over a longer period of time, right? Like if you're the guy who's trying to lose weight, you're starting at 250 and you get down to 200, there's measurable success there or measurable effort that you could say you lost 50 pounds. I mean, you know, and I think it's important in some aspects more than others. I definitely don't agree with, you know, people who are chasing certain numbers or validations through their, or chasing validation through certain numbers. Like it really shouldn't matter how much money you have in your bank account, but that seems to also be such an important number, especially to people these days, that I feel like it kind of dilutes us, you know, dilutes our human spirit.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a question for you. Something I'm really curious. Has there ever been a time where you avoided playing against someone because you knew they had like a high rating?
Yeah, I had a friend who had a really high rating compared to me, and it was a guy who I did not expect to be playing chess at all. And apparently he was really good. And when I played him, I ended up resigning halfway through the game because I was afraid of losing more of my rating by losing than just resigning. So I refrained from that. And then from that moment on, I refrained from playing people who were a lot higher than me because I was afraid to take the chance. And that's what actually ended up causing me to not want to play chess for a couple of years because I got so much in my head about the ratings and just like my ability on the game. So it was like taking something I was once very passionate about and I loved to do and basically tossing the game aside just to protect an identity, which at the time mattered to me the most, but now I see it as a number.
Yeah, I mean, that's really insightful. And I feel like it's not just chess, right? I'm a pretty competitive gamer, especially when it comes to games like ranked. And it's the same thing you see with like competitive shooters, you know, you go up in rank and you feel great. And then you kind of, you know, you're starting to reach the top, you know, if you're playing the finals or Valorant, maybe you're diamond. and you want to keep climbing those ranks. But sometimes you hit a point where like you're playing against other people who are either better than you or have a higher like skill gap than you or higher ranking. In the finals, in the case, a lot of the times you get to diamond, and then you get matched with people who are ruby, and ruby is like this higher level than diamond. It's like top 500 in the game. And even in that game, there's something called griefing, where when teams are fighting against ruby teams, they'll just throw the game. They'll intentionally try to make it to where like either the ruby team is getting griefed out because they're the highest ranking game and no one wants to fight them, or on the other side, people are so afraid of the ruby team that they'll just go fight everybody but the ruby team because they don't want to lose to them. And I think chess is, like you said, very similar. Like you could fight someone with a higher rating, and if you're a little afraid or don't want to lose your rating, maybe resigning isn't such a bad option. But I'm a big believer in playing the big fish, right? If you got an opportunity to play against Magnus Carlsen, you take it, right?
You don't back out at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the number one dog in chess. And, at that day or at that point, ratings don't really matter. Like if you got an opportunity to play with the best, that's an opportunity to learn.
Absolutely. Have you ever felt embarrassed by telling someone your rating?
Yeah, I have. Back at that
Haven't
UCSD.
we all?
Yeah, that UCSD chess table, man. Like I said, there's a lot of really good players who would come out to that chess table, and they'd play several games, and most of the time you'd sit down and the guy in front of you want to know your rating. I actually feel like it's better to play people when you don't know their rating, because I feel like it allows you to focus a little bit more just on your game, your strategy, and you're not really so much in your head about the number. But I remember one time I sat down and I told the guy, I was like, yeah, my rating's like 200. And he looked at me like this was like going to be the easiest W of his life. And to be fair, I mean, it was. We spent a lot of time kind of walking moves back, especially on my end, because, I was making a lot of beginner mistakes at that time. I definitely feel like I've improved since then. If I had to estimate my rating now, I'd probably say, at least 800. I feel like I know some more terminology, some strategies, but I mean, that kind of is really fun that we bring that up, because by the end of this episode, we're actually both going to have an official rating that we can track throughout the remainder of our show.
For our show. That's going to be really cool. And, at the moment, it's just games between us, but who knows what the possibilities could be in the future. So you guys will get to see what our rating is.
Yeah, and if you guys ever want to play us on games, maybe we can set up a chess.com account where you guys can play against us, interact with us. I'd love to get some games in with some viewers out there. And if there's any grandmasters listening to this, maybe they can give us some tips.
That'd be great. Always willing to learn.
Always willing to learn. I have a question for you. So if ratings are just numbers, why do you feel like then they have so much power over our lives, over the way we think, and even the way we compete? Like you've expressed fear of playing against people who are a higher rating than you. Why do you feel like that is?
Well, because like I said, it's a natural drive to want to be the best at something. If you're a competitive person, of course. When we put ourselves into the box of, I want to be at the top of the food chain, you're going to put yourself on that scale. And if you mess up, don't succeed, it's really easy to back out if it only leaves you halfway out the door so you can step back in when you're ready. So, to have that power over your head is exhausting, and it keeps a lot of people on their toes and really just unhappy with the progress they've made.
Yeah. And I feel that even in like the fitness side of things too, like that's another big thing, right? Like I've been trying to bench 225 for maybe a year and a half now.
It's a lot harder than people make it out to be.
Right. And I mean, it's like when you can't do that number, or when you're struggling to reach that number, it has a lot of emotional baggage and a lot of strain that comes with it. And it's frustrating when we feel like we're plateauing and we're not, when we're not making progress like in the way we want. So I totally feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Like I've been trying to bench 225 since I've been 16, and it's a pretty hard goal to get to.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
I feel like though, like once you reach that number, like you kind of start to explode from there. You just gotta hang in there.
Absolutely. Well, let's break down some chess ratings now. One of the hardest things for new players to understand is what different ratings actually look like. Instead of thinking about ratings as good or bad, think about them as a milestone in a chess player's journey. My question for you is, what do chess ratings actually mean?
Chess ratings can mean a lot of different things depending on who you ask. But the idea, as we mentioned before, is like chess ratings are supposed to be numerical analysis of one's current strength when it comes to the game of chess. And, if you're talking like specifically, if you're within that 300 to 600 range, you're probably someone who's just learning how the pieces moved. You're understanding how like a knight functions, how the queen is super important. And you're really just trying to spot basic checkmate ideas and avoid making, mistakes where you're just hanging pieces. Once you hit that 600 to 1,000 range, you start to see tactics kind of emerge and you recognize more complex patterns. You understand the concepts of like a pin, skewer, simple combinations in games. Maybe you know a few openings. 1,000 to 1,400 is usually where a lot of players start to focus a little less on learning or memorizing certain like things about the game and really start to just focus on like an overall fundamental strength where regardless of what opening move you play, you start to build a solid fundamental of understanding center control and protecting your pieces. Once you get into that 1,400 to 1,800 range, you start to develop consistency. That's right around when players really start to kind of notice that games are less about who's making the last mistake and more just about like the long form of the game. You start to see a lot more players making it to having only a few pieces left, and a lot of those games kind of get down to being in-game games where the in-game is super important. Once you hit 1,800 to 2,000, games are super precise at that level. It's rare that your opponent is making a mistake, and it usually comes down to just who has the better positioning or strategic skill level at that point. And then, once you get into the 2,000 plus range, that's when you start looking at titles. We have national master level, international master territory, and then, of course, 2,500 is grandmaster strength.
That's a pretty great way to sum it up. I think a lot of people definitely get confused about how the rating actually works, and they're like, "Oh, well, the bigger the number, even if it's 100, means I'm better."
I mean, that's what I thought at the beginning. I'm telling you, when I sat next to that dude who was like 2,200, like it didn't register in my head in the beginning that like, oh crap, this is someone who's like fundamentally just way out of my league. It's like, you get into the gym on the first day, the dude who's benching 300, and he's like, hey, you want to hit my set? It's like, no, I don't want to hit your set, bro. And maybe at the time, like I should have played with someone a little bit more my speed. Maybe I would have had a little bit more fun, a little less of a butt whooping. But like once again, in the beginning, it's not so much about the number and really just kind of playing the game and having fun with it. And playing people who are a higher rating than you, better than you, ultimately is good for you because you pick up on a lot. You learn a lot from those games.
Absolutely.
Oh,
ooh,
timer!
It's time, guys.
It's time.
It's time.
All right, guys. Our timer just went off. We are introducing a new bit in our show where once the timer goes off, it'll be a randomly set timer. Hunter, actually, he's not aware of the time at all. But once the timer goes off, we're going to play a little 3-minute blitz game. And loser has to spin the wheel of condiments.
That's not going to be fun.
Now, we got 4 condiments out here in front of us today. We got our hot sauce, mayo, pepperoni juice, and pickle juice. So whoever loses this blitz game is going to have to down one of these. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't plan on losing.
Well, I don't plan on losing either, buddy. It's going to be one or the other, you or I. So
all right, let's get
see.
into it.
Let's see who wins. 3-minute blitz game. Let's go.
Let's go. Just getting our timer set up. 3 minutes. All right. Timer's ready. I've been hitting a lot of practice, man. So
I'm sweating.
If I lose this, I'm gonna be very sad. But I think if I do lose, it'll probably be on time.
I sure hope I win. All right.
Already wasting my time.
And then, yeah, you just hit it. That's kind of the hardest part is remembering to hit it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm copying you. Oh, okay. We can do that. Ooh. Okay. Check. Check.
Yeah, we'll play tournament rules where if you grab a piece, you got to move that piece.
Okay. You're really not doing me any favors right now. I knew you were going to do that. You dang guy. Why would you do that to me? Oh, that's not very nice.
Your horsey is pinned.
That's not very nice. Don't pin my horse. I don't like when people pin my horse.
Stop pinning my horse.
Okay. Well, then, a trade's a trade. Oh, it's me again. Shoot. Buddy. Why are you doing this to me? Why? This is not right. This is harassment. Oh, come on. You're going to play the castle.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, don't play the castle. That's not very nice.
We castle.
It's not very nice. I don't appreciate it. But I do appreciate the 1 minute 32 seconds I have. Oh, okay, that's not very good. Let's
Blitz, baby, blitz.
Let's
He's like, I don't want to push that pawn.
Yeah, if I push that pong, it's gonna get like shot down by 30 different guns. Oh, okay, that's fine. Don't do it. Come on, John, don't do it. Oh, come on, why are you doing this to me? That's not nice. Now I gotta move my horse.
Your horsey. Forkaroni and cheese.
Aww.
Don't mind if I do.
That's not very nice.
Playing over the board is such a different experience from chess.com, by the way.
Isn't it?
Seriously is. Very nerve-wracking. And,
it's very fun. Ooh. Tasty. Okay. That's fine. If you feel that's the move you want to make, I will not get mad. Fuck, I did not see that.
Thanks for the re-queen.
Ah! No. Why did I do that? That's not cool. That's not cool.
That is no good, brother.
How did I not see that?
Sorry, brother.
Oh, man. You're just not making this fun.
Oh, it's fun for me.
I'm sure it is fun for you.
Don't
do it. Come on, Sean, don't do it. Think about what you're about to do, Sean.
I don't have time to think.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to do this then. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm gonna do though.
Take a pawn.
I'm so nervous. Okay. Well, I guess I'm just gonna take your knight.
Wait, how did you take my knight? Where's your... Oh, your cast. I see. I did not even think about that. Oh, no.
I know. The struggle is... Oh, okay. I mean, if you insist. Like, well, I don't like that, but... Yeah, you didn't think about that one.
No, I didn't.
Interesting. I get it, but I don't really want to do that.
Lost on time.
No.
Did you?
No.
You know what that means. Time to spin the condiment wheel.
Time to spin the condiment wheel. No.
All right, guys, we're going to grab the condiment wheel. We're going to give it a spin, and we'll meet you back when Hunter's ready to take his punishment.
All right, guys. That was a pretty heavy defeat on my part. I lost by time. Probably one of the worst things to lose on is time, in my opinion.
Yeah, blitz games are gnarly, man. Like, I was watching some really high elo rating blitz games, and when I tell you that these guys are literally instantly making moves the second they're like, you really have to be good at using your opponent's time to think. That's what I've realized from blitz games, especially. 3 minutes is a very short amount of time.
It's, you know what? It wasn't in the cards.
Not in the cards today. I thought I was going to lose on time, but I'm glad that you're going to take one for the team.
All right, guys, I'm going to spin the wheel. We have hot sauce, pickle juice, peppercini juice, and mayo, as you can see in all three of those shot glasses. I'm going to spin the wheel, and we're going to see what I get. Ready?
None of those sound very pleasant, by the way.
I honestly think like the of course.
No, the mayo.
So as you can see, I got the mayo, and a deal's a deal, so I'm going to hit the mayo.
Oh, man, he's about to hit the mayo. Shot of mayo.
I feel like I should like get a spoon or something.
You might have to.
I'm going to get a spoon.
You know what? That's fair. Get your spoon.
I'm going to get a spoon.
Let us know what other condiments you want to see on the condiment wheel. I mean, we started with 4 today, make it nice and simple. But if you guys have a favorite condiment that you want on the condiment wheel, let us know, and next time we'll include it on that wheel.
We have a spoon here.
I thought cinnamon would be really funny, but we didn't have any cinnamon.
A deal's a deal.
Oh, no.
All right, cheers, guys.
Ooh. How is it?
Ugh. Just straight mayonnaise is so weird.
It's like when you bite into the sandwich that had way too much mayo in it, and your sandwich ends up tasting like mayo.
Gosh. It's not that bad. It's just like a lot of mayo at once.
Yeah.
Like I was more afraid of like getting hot sauce or something.
Yeah, hot sauce, that could be bad.
Yeah. Well, mayo's off the table for if we do another game, so.
Maybe we could do another one before the episode wraps up. We still have hot sauce, peppercini juice, and pickle juice, so.
But yeah. Well, there you go, guys. A little bit of pain for this episode. Let us know if you like the Blitz section. If you have any ideas for any other sections you'd like or any other ways we could play chess and make it more interesting, let us know.
Yeah, guys, we're always looking for great ideas and feedback, and we rely on you guys for that, so let us know. All right, man, let's hop right back into it. We have titles. Titles are really important in chess. And, one of the biggest differences between ratings and titles is surprisingly simple. A rating can change. It fluctuates. If you win a tournament, it goes up. If you have a bad weekend and you play really bad, it can go down. Ratings are constantly moving because they're designed to reflect your current playing strength, but titles are different, Once you earn a title, it's there forever. It's yours to say you've earned. And
yeah, absolutely. Once you accumulate a title for whatever it is you're doing, that's your legacy right there. Like, for example, if I was to be a grandmaster at chess, the best in the world, that's what I would be remembered as, rather than being myself, Hunter.
Very true. And titles have kind of a way of being more than just a title. It also has a way of sometimes becoming your personality, right? You become a grandmaster, that's something you flex. That's like something you wear on your sleeves.
Becomes an ego train.
Oh, yeah. And it's not just chess titles. There's a lot of real world parallels. Someone becomes a doctor. Next thing you know, they're at the restaurant. Excuse me, sir. You need to call me Dr. Sean.
Yeah, I experience a lot of that in my daily life.
Yeah. Doctors, captains, professors, all these titles, I feel like have a way of kind of becoming one's identity. And, they're not just accomplishments, they're also the reflection of many years of hard work and discipline and sacrifice. So there is a lot to be said about the pride and just the respect that you earn from accumulating a title, but it's not everything, right? And if you had to choose, I'm curious, would you rather have a higher rating or a title?
Well, I personally believe you need to climb to a higher rating to get a permanent title. I think it's more in the cards for the process because let's say, for example, like you're a fast food employee when you're a teenager, right? You're not going to get a permanent title by being the McDonald's worker unless you climb the ranks a little bit. Like, hey, what if I one day become CEO of McDonald's? I know that's a very foul example, but
That's a big stretch, but I mean, I get what you're saying. The idea is that, like wherever you're at in life, whatever you're doing is kind of your title, but it's not set in, sorry, excuse me, I had a little burp there. It's not set in stone, right? Like if you're that fast food worker and you're, just a normal worker at McDonald's, that's where you are now, but you could always strive to be better. And I think titles are those things that we strive for. They push us to want to be better, to want to reach a certain level. Kind of like how we talked about in the earlier part where, in rank games, right? Like there's rankings for a reason. There's diamond, ruby for a reason. These titles mean something and they give you something to chase, which I think is really, really special. I'm really curious, are there titles outside of chess that you think hold more value? Like, is it more valuable to be considered a doctor or is it arguably more like cool to be a grandmaster?
I think it depends on the person. I think like one of the hardest titles to come across is being just a really good person. Because you think about it, we have a bunch of people who are rich, famous, you know, the best athletes in the world, the best people at video games, the best people at chess. Like there's titles for that, but to be just called a genuinely good person, that's pretty hard to come by. Because at some point in your career, if you're trying to be the best at something, you're going to make some questionable choices, hopefully, if or hopefully not. Excuse me. Um, but you're going to make some questionable choices sometimes, and I think the greatest title you can get for yourself is being a good person.
I mean, I agree. I'd like to think that regardless of whatever your professional or chess title is, I mean, if you're kind of a douchebag, I mean, there's not much to respect there, and once again, you can see it as years of sacrifice and discipline, but that can all kind of be underscored by one's character and one's personality.
With bad character comes poor choices, and those poor choices can bring down your whole world. So, by being a good person, you kind of avoid all that, and you're also spreading that joy and good to other people. So that's pretty important. I'm curious though, why do permanent achievements feel more meaningful than numbers that change?
I think a permanent achievement is kind of almost like, in my opinion, like a fail safe. It's kind of like that kickback, right? Where, we're going to talk about some chess legends later on in this episode, but one person that really comes to my mind is Gary Kasparov. He's a Russian chess player, one of the best to ever do it. And, when people think about him, when they talk about him, they're going to say he was a grandmaster. He is a grandmaster. And, once you earn the title of grandmaster, that's something that no one can take away from you. And, for as long as you're alive and even after that, people will remember you as a grandmaster. But to me, that almost feels like a little bit like a cop out in the sense that, you know, I feel like if you earn a title and that's kind of where it leaves you just with the title, you're, not really super interested in playing anymore. Or if, you get the title and then you quit, it's kind of like, what was it for? You know what I mean? I feel like the title is more of the fruit that comes along the process. And, the more effort and, work you put on your chess strategy that reflects in your rating, eventually you earn a title. I don't think that's where you stop though. You know what I mean? I think you get the permanent achievement and it should push you to want to keep going to get higher, but not everybody thinks like that. Some people are definitely more fixated on just achieving the title. And then once they do, they don't really care about what happens after that.
It's kind of like reaching the end of your goal. Either you're satisfied or you're dissatisfied, and the people who are dissatisfied keep trying to push for more, but the people who are content with their choices, they let it go.
Yeah, I would much rather be a grandmaster who reached grandmaster level, and it's something that's obviously should be celebrated, and it's going to feel amazing, for anybody who achieves that. But there's more to it than just that. You hit grandmaster level, and I hope that would be the thing that would continue to push you to want to play the game more, you know, learn more. I mean, you can always improve. Like, a rating continues to go up even after you hit grandmaster, right? So it's not just about the title, but also what you do after you earn it, in my opinion.
What titles in any field do you think carries the most respect?
I mean, I would like to say doctor's like a pretty big one, right? Like, if you're a doctor, people usually look up to you. They want to, seek out your opinion on, maybe medical advice. Or I actually recently learned too, like, if you're a doctor and you happen to go to prison, then you kind of become like a prison doctor.
Yeah,
And like, the inmates expect you to kind of be the guy who's like there to patch them up. And, even if you're just like a dentist, right? Like, you're a doctor once you go to prison, if you have a dental thing.
doesn't matter. It's just the it doesn't matter. It's just the way things are. So, like, once you get the title of becoming a doctor, you're a doctor to everybody. You're no longer, to a degree, you're no longer your own person. You're everybody's person. You
Yeah.
have an obligation to help people when they need it, and you can refuse that, of course, but people are going to look at you in a different way. It's a lot more responsibility, and I kind of agree with you on that. I personally think like some of the career professions off the top of my head that hold the most weight would be like a CEO, obviously a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, a judge, and politicians, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that all of these titles, positions hold in common is that they represent, like we've said, a significant dedication to a certain practice, or, a certain learning path that, not everybody is poised to go down. Some people don't want to be a doctor. Some people don't want to be a lawyer. And some people don't want to be president of the United States. So, whatever title that you're wanting to earn in life, I think it's never about the title itself, but about the journey on how you got there.
That's the most important part about it. So, guys, for this next segment, we're going to be taking an ICS test for our official chess rating. Now, it does not have numbers, but it will tell us what level we are at in chess. And we're going to cut and come back when we've taken the test, and we'll put the screenshots up on screen and let you know. Okay, guys, we're back, and screenshots will be posted for the video side of the podcast. For the audio side, if you want to know, I got an intermediate level, and then Sean, what did you get?
I scored beginner.
And I
so
got beat.
yeah, he got beat by a beginner, guys. I
Crap.
actually only got, I think, 2 out of 15 questions right. But I think there were some that I definitely knew the answer to. And it was just like the way they were asking for the answer was kind of weird to me.
Yeah,
And
I kind of had the same problem. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, what do you mean? Like, queen here. And they
yeah,
had it in like that very cryptic text.
yeah. Like QXCP people, what? And I'm like, oh, and we mentioned this kind of before the episode started, but like, I wanted to get better at reading like the coordinates on the board. So I think as that improves, who knows, maybe I'll take it again, and we'll see where we score. Maybe it could be like a little benchmark a few episodes from now. We'll tap back in with that. But it's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm a beginner. I'm fine with that. It means I have a lot to learn.
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask a question. What if life had ratings?
I think if life had ratings, we would find even more reasons to compare ourselves to people. You know what I mean? And life in some ways kind of does have a rating. You know what I mean? Like, you have a height rating. Like, you're born with a height rating. Whatever height you end up landing on, that's it. And unfortunately, we have a culture where we like to judge people on things like their height. I mean, in your weight, weight's a good example too. That's kind of like a weight, like a rating, goes up and down. But I think the important thing to consider is that, like, these are just numbers, like we've been talking about through this entire episode. Numbers can change, maybe not your height, but, your weight can change. And, we don't want to be judging people off a number, because at the end of the day, a number isn't the most important thing, like we've discussed. It's your character, your personality. So even if life had ratings like, a height rating, if you're a tall douchebag, then, good luck. But if you're a good person, genuinely, I think regardless of whatever numbers that you're attaching to your life, your weight, your height, GPA, salary, none of that matters. I think if you, walk the path of being a good person.
What invisible ratings do you think society already judges us by?
100% height, weight, salary. I mean, the things we've been talking about throughout this entire episode thus far. Those are the things that people really like to judge by. But I think it's for each person to really ask themselves, like, where do their values lie? What numbers do they want to obsess over? Everybody has a number, right? It could be, for me, to be completely honest, the number that I obsess over a lot besides chess is, my numbers in the gym, how much weight I'm pulling, like I like to do my weighted pull-ups and I like to challenge myself every time I go in. Can I get a, slightly bigger number? And so those are just some of the numbers that I hold myself and I judge myself by. But I think generally speaking, definitely your height. That's a big one, right?
It's a big one among men, typically. Like,
Yeah.
your height is super important to your character to a degree in a social aspect. For me personally, I don't really care. But for the majority of people, they care. Did you actually know that there's a surgery you can get? And I do not recommend doing this because it is extremely painful, excruciatingly painful, and kind of impractical, but you can extend your femur, which is the largest bone in your body, by stretching it, is what the doctors do.
Ooh.
You basically, after you stretch it, the bone heals over the rods, and you will have to go through physical rehab. And it could be anywhere from like 1 year to 2 years to 3 years, however long it may take. And that's just for a couple extra inches. So people,
Maybe that's what the doctor did to me. I've had double knee surgery, so I got 4 screws in both of my legs, and maybe that's what that was.
maybe. Did you get taller?
No, I'm naturally 6'2". I just want to put that out there. If you guys are curious, naturally 6'2", no enhancements here. But I did have the leg surgery, and like I can't imagine wanting to go through something as painful as leg surgery just for a few insignificant inches. When we've been talking about, the reality is, like, if you're tall, like, be content with what you have. Be happy with the height that you have. It's not, especially men, right? Like, we put so much emphasis on that, and we want to be tall, because it's attractive to women, it's appealing. But there's a lot of women out there who will love you regardless of how tall you are. Short king.
Short kings. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's kind of the key takeaway is, you can sit here and try to change what you are offered at the table that you can't change, or you can sit here and embrace it and show the world that you don't really care. But obviously, society's there to put labels and numbers on you. But
Yeah.
it's better to have a different perspective than society. Your own is more important than everybody's. So keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
The truth is like we're kind of living with like an invisible scoreboard, right? I mean, whether you choose to believe it or participate or interact with it is up to each own. But there is an official or not an official. There's not an official scoreboard, but it's a social one. And I think we measure ourselves by numbers, like you said, because we want to, seek being better than other people. We want to feel superior to other people in some way. So, I mean, that's why, people kind of get lost in the numbers sometimes. I think numbers can kind of have a way of dragging us in and holding on to us. I'd like to think of like subscriber counts as like a really big number, right?
That's probably the most consistent one nowadays. If you're trying to become a content creator, is how many subs do you have?
Mhm.
How many subs do you have, bro?
But also think about how many times where like someone's so close to meeting a sub goal and like they're like, man, guys, we're going to do it. We're going to hit 200K. And then, the trolls come out and they start unsubscribing. And, they know it means something to you, like they like to hold, like numbers can be a hold over your head if you allow them to have significant meaning and, power over your life. Like some numbers do matter. Like obviously your bank account, it would really suck if you woke up one morning and, your bank account was at 0, but I still don't think that should be a number that controls your life or, is the driving force of your life, because it's pretty soul sucking.
It's meaningless at the end of the day.
Can't take the money with you when you're in the grave.
That's what I always say. But that's what I always say. Well, if you'd like to transition us into the resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to snap.
Yeah, okay.
I was not. My notes are kind of out of place. So that's one note that I have for myself for next episode, just to make sure that my notes are also in the same order as the actual notes of the episode sheet. Because when I changed it around, I didn't change it on my side. But in chess, you get a rating, but the people we remember most were never defined by one. The goal was never just to raise the rating. It was to leave something behind that lasted far longer than any number ever could. And I think that's been at the heart of our discussion throughout the entirety of this episode this far. We talked a lot about ratings, chess ratings, life ratings, titles, legacies. And maybe that's because we're all chasing some kind of number. Whether it's your salary, followers, status, or approval, nobody remembers the number. They remember your reputation. They remember the character and the impact that you had on their lives. And chess teaches us a simple lesson. Ratings can fluctuate.
Players we remember weren't remembered because they had the highest number besides their name. They're remembered because they changed the game. Maybe life works the same way. Final question for you guys. If people couldn't see your numbers, your income, your followers, your GPA, your job title, or even your chess rating, what would they remember you for?
That's the question we'll leave with you guys, because ratings measure performance in the moment, but
legacy is obviously built over time.
Yes, sir. And we're building our legacy here on the NF3 Podcast, one episode at a time.
And one move at a time.
One move at a time.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to check out our last three, which are slowly coming out. This one will come out in about 2 weeks, so you guys will be seeing this in 2 weeks. We post a lot on social media, hopefully, when we get the chance.
We'll be coming to you guys with a lot more short form content. We have some really great ideas cooking, and our big goal is to continue to improve with every single episode. Next episode is going to be our season 1 finale, so we're gonna cook some really good ideas for that. We'll see what we come up with, but like we've said before throughout this episode, if you guys have any other ideas or things you'd like to see as we continue to be the NF3 podcast team, let us know.
And thank you guys for watching or listening, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Oh, that's real good.